Talking about a show. The off-season for the Carolina Hurricanes. At this point, it's prestige television, right? It's, oh gosh, they've solved this, they've solved that. What possibly could happen next? Tune in next time to find out. And then sure enough, beginning of the next episode, it's like a Game of Thrones deal, right? Just sending away all your favorite characters. Last time on Carolina Hurricanes offseason, Brady Shea, gone. Brett Pesce, gone. Stefan Nason, gone. Teuvo Teravainen, gone.
New season, new cast of characters.
Well, not quite yet because we're still moving on from a cast of characters last year, at least maybe. Earlier today, we learned Evgeny Kuznetsov, who was one of the splash cameos from last season, came on about midway through the season and had some of the best scenes. Could be headed to Russia. That's the type of writing that happens in television when, like, an actor gets a new job on a big movie and they just... It's always like, so-and-so joined the Peace Corps. They're gone.
Like, how do we write them off?
Quickly, Russia came in. St. Petersburg wants Evgeny Kuznetsov. He gone. In full disclosure, I guess it might be a little too early to say he gone. One of his agents stated that it's too early to talk about the hockey player's return to Russia, even though many other reports said he's looking to terminate his contract with the Canes to go sign a 4-year deal with St. Petersburg. It is a interesting situation for the Canes from a bunch of different angles. First of all, if he does move on, which it looks like, I mean, I'm guessing he will, but obviously, pen to paper hasn't been signed. That's money to spend. That's $3.9 million against the cap that they get back. That's nice. There are ways the Canes could use that money, and plenty of them. Some very, very important ways. But also, he leaves a hole to fill on that roster, which is not nice. Right? We've talked about they need to get the Seth Jarvis deal done. Maybe $3.9 million next year or this year allows them to knowing, especially with how much comes off the cap next year, allows them to sign that long-term deal rather than a bridge deal. That'd be awesome. They still have to work with Jack Drury, who's in arbitration. Maybe it allows that to go a little bit more smoothly. That would be awesome. Martin Necas. There's 7,500 different ways that situation could end up. Maybe $3.9 million helps them there.
Can afford to get all those things done.
You can afford to get all those things done and make that work for like 13, 14 million, which is, I believe, what the window looks like now. Maybe close to 15 if you finagle it right. But guess what that doesn't do? Getting those 3 things done is awesome, by the way. I think they're all important. Second line center. You know what this is, right? This is Jesperi Kotkaniemi walking into the facility like a conquering hero. Like, I see you need me now. All of that talk about buying me out. All of that talk about, oh, this, oh, that. Looks like I am the second-team center of your dreams. Remember that healthy scratch in the postseason? I am now the one responsible for getting Roslovic on one side and Necas on the other side and scoring a bunch of goals. Aho, Kotkaniemi, Stahl, Drury, assuming you get the Drury stuff taken care of. That is your lineup of centers. There it is.
The same you started with last year.
That was the expectation last year. It shifted around a little bit. As we mentioned, Kuzi obviously was brought in, but it's Aho, Kotkaniemi, Stahl, and Drury. I think there is an obvious I wouldn't say a weak link, an obvious underwhelming link there. Love Aho. You know how I feel about that. Most underrated superstar in the game. Love Stahl for what he is asked to do. That line is in a category of its own.
Yeah.
Love Drury as a fourth-line center.
Perfect for that.
I think he is a great fourth-line center. And there's Kotkaniemi in the second. And there's not many other options you can do, right? Because the one option is you take that $3.9 million that Evgeny Kuznetsov moving on would open up, and you do exactly what we just talked about, right? You get Jarvis, you get Drury, and you get Martin Necas taken care of as much as you can, put a nice bow on it, head into the season. The other argument would be try to find a center with $3.9 million. That's tough. This is late in the game, right? If Evgeny Kuznetsov made this clear right after the season, I think maybe this entire offseason goes different, knowing they have an extra roughly $4 million. At this point, unless you're making a trade where you need to accept some cap, and there's not really many options to fill that hole. What it does do is it just continues to show how the depth of this Canes roster, I believe, simply won't be the same as it's been in the last few years. And it can't be, right? They've played, we've talked about the championship glow that happens with some teams, right? You win a championship, you make it to a championship, then suddenly everyone on your team is seen as worth more on the open market. That kind of happened to the Canes without actually getting to the championship. Everybody on their roster was seen as more valuable than they were when they signed their previous deal. The Sheas, the Pesci's, even Martin Necas, right? All of these guys were signed for more money than they signed on their previous deal. Canes can't account for that, for lack of a better term, inflation, and remain as deep. Kuznetsov moving on, you would like to think, all right, you got some money to find a replacement for him, when in actuality, no. You have some money to fit in the inflation of other guys, right? There's some money there to fit in the larger contracts of players that have been playing for less on your roster. I think in some ways, this move is a better for all parties, right? You look at this and you go, you know what, Kuzi, probably not the player he was during his peak with the Capitals. Probably putting that nicely to Kuzi.
That's a reality, though.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying probably not the best player. Canes could use that money better elsewhere, so it's just kind of like a, hey, best for both parties. The hard part about that is it's only that way until a center gets hurt.
Yeah, well, there's major questions about that.
Because, it's like I said, the depth's not going to be the same. As soon as any of those four guys I mentioned, Aho, Kotkaniemi, Stahl, or Drury, get dinged up a little bit, there's going to be a lot of people going, what would be really nice right now? Evgeny Kuznetsov.
I mean, Jack Roslovic's your insurance policy right now.
And then you get to the, and this is the high school football thing, right? When your number one wide receiver is your backup quarterback, your quarterback gets hurt, suddenly you're worse at quarterback and you're worse at number one wide receiver.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
It's if Roslovic has to come over and play center, now suddenly you're worse in the second line wing, and I don't even know who you're bringing up there.
I mean, to me, this all but guarantees we're going to see a rookie this season because penciled in was Kuznetsov at center, and then Kotkaniemi as a left wing. Well, Kotkaniemi slides in the middle. That there's a spot open on the wing somewhere. I mean, I doubt Tyson Jost is going to be on your second line or anything like that. Like Felix Ugersor and Bradley Nadeau. Hello, kid.
Jackson
Spots
Blake,
open.
one of you.
Spots open.
And do you know what is also hanging over this?
What's up?
Jesper Fast is no update.
Yeah.
Because if Fast plays, they trust Fast, right?
100%.
Innings eater, right? they trust you to give him 6 every start. Like he's a minutes eater. If you take Fast away, those minutes got to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And probably younger, right? You're maybe somebody like Carrier, but then someone's got to take his minutes. Like those young guys are not going to be, hey, let's walk in the stairs at the shallow end. They're going to be like, hey, we got a diving board at the deep end. Let's see how this goes.
Timing on this probably could not be winning worse. Like free agency's passed. The initial buyout window is already passed as well.
Most teams have already solved their problems and wrapped their head around, I think it's going to be good, right? So they're not looking to, there's no trade needs out there you can really take advantage of. It's a tough spot if this ends up breaking the way that it looks like it's going to break. Again, there's an agent, some kind of representative through translation said it's too early to talk about this being a definite, but it does appear as if it's moving in that direction.